as a community, we strongly believe that education is key to preventing the perpetuation of the stigma of mental illness.
Yeah, and although there have been some conversation recently about mental health services, recipients of mental health services, the general population at large, the greater community, still maintain faulty beliefs and attitudes towards individuals who are receiving mental health services. The media, for one thing, is a big proponent of continuing stigma by microaggressions that people might not even be aware of, like poor language choices.
Such as they're psycho, they're schizo, they're angry, volatile, they're violent. It's just a phase.
That's why it's important to start having conversations about stigma and how it impacts individuals who are managing a mental health diagnosis. Stigma has prevented individuals from reaching out for support when it's been needed, and stigma ostracizes entire people. It degrades them as individuals and puts a label as a diagnosis opposed to recognizing the person as a whole.
And the fact of the matter, it could be me, it can be you, because 1 in 4 individuals are diagnosed with a mental health illness.
So the project is an artistic exhibition which is going to be held at Gallery X, that people who are have personal experience with mental health issues and stigma, people who have work experience. I mean, all of these things are personal experiences with mental health issues and stigma. So, whether we're people who have our own experience managing these things, or people who have experience in supporting others, or family members, or friends, this is a community-wide issue. So the exhibition was, an attempt to further the conversation and to make this something, public, that we can kind of take off the mask, as the metaphor goes, and sort of show what our real feelings on these things are. I think that stigma comes from people not knowing something and spreading information based on what little they do know. So when we have people who are isolated or marginalized by that kind of protective instinct, really what we're doing is tearing, a community that should be unified apart. So, I think that the way to respond to that is to try to be honest and share our stories and share the information that we have. I have, personal lived experience living with mental health diagnoses, as well as, some substance use issues in my past. And I can say that those are, topics that for me, for a long time, I was not comfortable discussing openly. I believe in this project, and I believe in the power of education and the power of personal experience to change perspectives.
Well, name's Kristen Boudreau. I deal with I have multiple problems. Everyone has problems. I have PTSD and anxiety, which kind of wrecks my day sometimes, but I've lived with it most of my life. Even in school, I was in a special ed program, which unfortunately labeled me as being some of the slower of the class, which did not help school at all. Didn't help also, I was never stayed in the same school more than 2 years. Going back home and was hard as well. Because at home, I was always a slow kid. And I had my sister who was she was the golden child of the family. Here's my mask. I have here my decorations, which are also pieces of cloth that I use to hide half of my face, because sometimes it would hide my true self. And on the inside, which I also painted, but the little black birds remind me of black thoughts that sometimes seep into my mind whenever I'm depressed or my PTSD kicks in. I wrote this poem because this world is filled with stigmatism, and we don't know how to fight it, but we can try. Simply titled, I Wish. I wish I could fly like my thoughts, which land on the branches of my mind that is ever growing. I wish I could escape all the judgment and pain that rules over us each and every day. I wish I could bottle up all the hate and bury it away. I wish we all could understand each other so we can come together as one. And I wish that you had the same wishes as me.
My real name was Jessica Kryla. I'm 19. I recently came out to some of my friends, not to my family mostly, as James Joseph Kryla. I am a transgender. I am still a person. It's surreal. The moment is like it's hard to go through so many changes I'm going through right now with my body chemically, you know, and especially emotionally too. It's very tolling on an emotional state, especially when you have a diagnosis. This is my mask. I did half both of the faces with black and red because black describes me as not being able to be heard or seen to truly who I am. But also having that red in there, have that vibrant color and that pop to it shows people I am here. I want to be noticed. I'm a human being, I want to be noticed. The mask project made me really feel like I had something to hold on to. It made me feel very secure that I had somebody listening to me and made me express my feelings.
My design was to exemplify a person with a blindfold on, who's willing to speak. That's a little, space here. And how society seems to have a blindfold on to mental illness and all that it involves, until something either in the news media or in their local community brings this to light. And then, as the news media tends to be, they drag out the same people to give the same opinions without totally looking at all the information. It seems that now culture and society right now in this fast-paced society is very quick to pin blame, label people without the correct information. My hopes would be more education. Education in the schools, starting with children, because healthcare seems to be the wave of the future. And most schools, even you don't have to be in a vocational school to take healthcare courses. And mental health is a part of healthcare. It's probably one of the most important parts of healthcare.
And it says, don't run away, don't judge, because people are most likely to run away from somebody with mental illness, thinking that they're going to be violent or dangerous, and that's not the case. The pipe cleaners out of its eyes are fire, because it's crying and it's angry, so it's bipolar. So I'm bipolar. The veil is to describe how people are kind of looking through a veil at mental illness. They don't actually see us, they just see our disease. Dear stranger, please do not cry for me. My situation isn't all that bad. Please do not try to fix me. I am not broken. Please do not judge me on one action alone, because I am more than just that one action. I am a person just like you. I may think a little different, but don't we all? I may act a little different, but don't we all? I may talk a little different, but don't we all? Here we are all a little different, but ironically, in that aspect, we are all the same. So I have severe depression and all that. And mostly I turn into myself, like I go inside my own shell. And I think that's part of the reason why stigma exists, because people sometimes are scared to explain what's really going on. Just because someone's a little different doesn't mean they're not a person like you are, you know? We're all people. We all want to be loved. We all want to succeed.
I created my mask the way I did because I feel like there's two different sides of me. I feel like this describes of who I am. I either have a pain side, and when you don't want to get too close to me, and this is like a telephone of when people are like shouting at me hatred things, and when I'm hating on myself. Purple describes me in a better mood because purple is my favorite color, and all the love and the happy moments. So there's two different parts. People are not what their mental illness is. People can't be described as their mental illness. We're all human beings. We all can come together as a group and help each other. When people describe mental health stigma, it's kind of like they put people down and think of them as an enemy. When we're describing mental health stigma, we want to build them up. We want to show them, help them, respect them. I was abused for a very long time, and I have severe PTSD. I have seizures now due to my PTSD and flashbacks constantly. I'm standing tall and strong. That's where I'm going. Proud to be.
He left, she left. I stayed and waited. They never came back. Alone, a loner, forever an outsider, for certain a wallflower, intensely shy, just plain ugly, a crazy girl, a needy girl, and a lifelong burden. I decided to put just fragile, you know what I mean? It's just like a protection. The lace is like to like accentuate how delicate it is and how fragile we are by their judgments and by their words. I would like them to listen, to just see it and see that we feel and we express and we're not what the media and the community, that's how I feel, thinks we are. I think for me, that promotes the stigma, you know what I mean? That they can't see it. I grew up in an old school Italian household. I think I had mental illness probably from when I was little. And I was really angry, and I remember my parents saying, you know, you're gonna be scared of your own shadow and all this stuff. So right now at my age, like I feel like, and still it perpetuates in my head, like, you know, you're lazy, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I just hear it. I don't think some of the people that promote the stigma, I don't think they mean to promote it. It's just the not understanding it.
Yeah, I'm a veteran and I'm going back to school for social work. And throughout my time at school, it's been brought up to me that, you know, I might be intimidating to the people that I'm gonna work with. To me, I don't see myself that way. But, you know, other people think that just because of what I've done in my past, that I'll be portraying that to other people, you know, just because I have tattoos or what I've done, it automatically portrays that stigma, which I don't think is fair. And it's the same thing with people with mental illnesses, you know, just because you're labeled something doesn't mean that's what you are. We're not our labels, we're not our past, we are what we are in this moment. I've been to Iraq, I was there for a year. I had to leave my kids behind for a year. You know, it was something that I did. It's not who I am. You know, I came back, it changed me. I did some things afterwards I wasn't too proud of, but now I'm going back to school to be a better person. I'm coming back and I want to help people. And you know, if somebody like me can do it, then other people can do it too. The stigma thing, you know, if you do that with people and if you think that all the people are the same, you're gonna miss out on chances of people that can really make a difference. And you know, they wanna label them as this or that and say, okay, well then they can't be helped or they can't like do something because they're labeled as this or that. Well, no, I don't think that's right, because if people would have given up on me, then I wouldn't be where I am right now. You might be that person that helps somebody, and I try to tell people that same thing too. You might be the only person that makes a difference in that person's day. You might be the only person that helps that person that day, or you might be the only person that influences that person that day, and you could be the person that changes that person's life. So you never know what a person's going through. You never know what their situation is. It's just nice to have a conversation with somebody and really understand what they're going through before you judge them.